Hello, Bruce. How are you doing?
Great to see you, Ilia.
Great to see you too. Finally, yeah, you've got recently very busy schedule.
This month was finally a break since the competition.
you call this a break, like to have just several concerts?
No, it's I had three weeks that I could really just I lost 3 kilograms after the which how much is in pounds, like
No,
7
kilograms works fine for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like 7 pounds, I don't know, after the competition. So in 3 weeks I got it back. So that's the purpose of being home.
I see. So now you're staying at home in Montreal, right?
Yeah.
Great. Well, Bruce, I have several chapters to which I would like to discuss with you. Some of them more serious, some less. I will announce a few and you will pick from what you want to start, okay? Competition, teachers, piano routine, girls.
It's like we're saying this like this kind of open novel. You can choose a chapter that you read, and then it's like how do you say this, adventure type.
Yeah.
It's better to say the serious thing first, so I don't give a bad image to people.
No worries, we can edit this as we wish. No, speaking about the competition, okay, life before and after. I call this chapter in my notes, life before and after. I want you to go back in your memories and describe the first morning after the final results, after all announcements were out.
Yeah, this is very interesting because I still have it really clear in my mind. It's I slept, I think, 2 hours, because by the moment of the announcement, it's already, I think, 4 a.m. In Warsaw. And then it's not the end yet. It's just the beginning. So I mean, let's say that's the day, right? It's because it's in the morning, it's 4 a.m. so we can count it as the first day. And then it's right after that we had a press conference, and then in my head I was not thinking about any joy at that time, because the next night there's a gala concert, and not only that night but 3 nights in a row. And I had to play as the first prize, I had to play the E minor concerto 3 times. And so in my mind it was I didn't even have the space to think about future or competition or whatever, the celebration, but just to actually finish these concerts, because all of them were live streamed. And I think I think each live stream there were nearly 500,000 or people watching. It's quite something. Even it's more stressful than the competition in a way. So so right after the press conference of that result, they were were brought to, we call this a jail room, is like the whole planning for the coming 4 months until February, actually. And the first reaction I had was that I couldn't go home until, I think, November. I think December and November. So after the competition I was thinking, finally I can go home, and rest. But no, it's just the start. And then there's I think 10 countries now of tour, and until Christmas time. So yeah, I was I was okay. I was signing everything in the fastest way I can, so I can actually go to sleep, which I went at like around 7 or 6 in the morning. And then I slept 2 or 3 hours. I had to get up and prepare for the interview, I think at noon. And then in the afternoon it's the rehearsal for the ceremony and with the orchestra again. And the night is the ceremony gala, and then you play the E minor again in a very not so good acoustic hall, but
It's
Yeah.
kind of theater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we of course we watched all the broadcasts. Okay, so this is fair enough. You say that you basically didn't have time to realize that, to just sit on the couch and say, yeah, I made it, right? So you basically didn't have a chance.
Even until now, I think I
Really?
didn't have not
Wow.
that time yet. Will take a while.
Yeah, maybe to realize finally, and to totally understand. So it's interesting. You said that guys, I mean, the Chopin committee were planning for you like months ahead. But what if you had other arrangements, let's say concerts or something? So everything was wrapped off, right?
Yeah. Well, thankfully I didn't plan anything there because maybe because of the pandemic or anything. And even for these concerts that they gave me was also, in a shaky mode because especially for Japan and Korea, which was very lucky because right after I played there, now they're in lockdown. So I made it, and everything was in a perfect moment.
Good timing. Good timing.
Yeah. Good timing.
Well, so okay, Chopin Institute of Music, they have their own agents, right? So right after they announced that you won this competition, they approach you, you sign the contract, right? And you're ready to go. That's how it works.
Yeah, it's like the how do you say, the engagements that are right away for the not only the first prize but some for other prizes too. And yeah, so the concerts that Chopin Institute booked was until February. And then in this process I was learning so many new things. I have to learn how to find new agents myself as well, and meet. So I think I never met so many people in that short amount of time in my life, not only in person but also by media. I was receiving hundreds of emails a day, and all these things were in such like a tsunami. It's
crazy. How do you think for younger generations of new participants, should they somehow get ready, like preparing for this kind of stuff? Was it too stressful for you, or you were just fine with this?
To be honest, even for my age, I was a little bit, I wouldn't say really stressful, but anxious, of course, when so many things happening. But the moment I won, I think I had immediately three reactions in my mind at that time. One is thanks God I don't need to do competitions anymore, which was the happiest thing at that time. And then the second thing in my head is thanks God I was not 17 or 18 when I won this, and otherwise I wouldn't be ready. Suddenly you feel a bunch of responsibility, and the third one is of course the responsibility, to actually keep the shape, keep the at least there's 30 times of E minor coming, 2 years of Chopin, and I think for the rest is to prepare what other repertoire you want to to break the ice, and and to let people forget I am actually a Chopin player, which is not not in the bad sense, but in the what I mean. And and also planning all these repertoire ideas 5 years ahead, the program you're going to play, which is not like student time that you think each year what you want to learn, each year what you want to do, but now it's 5 years and very long term suddenly.
Interesting. So but do you decide this yourself?
Now there's there's two sides. There's the professional side, and there's the business side. So now it's to really balance the thing the best you can. Of course now there's people from the recording, from the gramophone, and of course my teachers and mentors. Professional still counts as the major ones. There's one good thing is that you don't need to think what is good for competition, or this kind of thing. Now you can just play pieces that that you feel, or that you want to create a kind of message type of thing. You don't need to worry about, for example, we did for Ballad 2 or Ballad 3, what is a bit tricky for jury, something that people doesn't always everybody likes, or style and these things. Now you don't care, you just show yourself, and that's a great desire and happiness.
Yeah, but you see what you're saying, that we need to think, the competitor is supposed to think how the particular music will impact judges or will please somebody. Is there any chance to win competition like that if you're not considering many factors, if you're just trying to deliver your own art to the world? What do you think?
Of course, this is like a very black and white, as we said, to a certain extent. But the edge from this is very fluid. How do you say? Even for me, because before I went to the competition, my teacher was even very afraid, because the way I played Chopin is already not the very conventional way. Especially I put it a lot of, for example, I choose the variation, and these piece. I mean, I think I never heard variation in the previous Chopin competition, any history. I don't know. Maybe some people played it, but I don't know any name. At least recently, we have YouTube for these recent 15 years. I don't see anyone played it. So already that, and also the approach that I try to put a lot of happiness in Chopin's music, which is sometimes dangerous, as people always have a stereotype kind of thing. They think Chopin is very nostalgic. He's weak health, and he's patriotic, missing his country, and all these things. And I think I don't have any of these things in my life, and in my blood. So that's already a very personal approach. And already when I was preparing, I was having a very, very, very clear idea in my head, is that I think nowadays with the media influence already, that people always all play too similarly, and as we discussed, this is already following a kind of path that is created by the by the thing that is, we just have to do it. I don't know, most of the people just don't think, they just follow. So so I had really clear mind in my head that these things were only to inspire me, but I was clear that I want to do a lot of things by myself. That's why I really appreciated both of my teachers, because they are really open-minded in this sense. They teach what they teach and what they think, but they they support different ideas most of the time, and they try to make my ideas the most convincing way possible, and not necessarily to impose or to just give you your idea that you have to do it. So all these factors already makes, and at the end we say it's hard to say to a certain extent, because not only competition, but even for concerts, there's always people that is not going to like you, and it's hard to say, because some people play very safe and not interesting, let's say, and some place works, some place doesn't work. Also, it doesn't mean that all the competition winners are safe players. It's not true, but at the same time, I think there's some that are not that interesting, but at the end it's a neutral choice. Is that nobody really hates him. That's usually what we think of a competition. That's why Bartok said that competition is for horses, not for pianists.
Yeah.
But I think at the end the problem is not the competition, is really about the pianist, because why you think that like this? The competition is there, it's an opportunity that that is there, but the way that you play is basically you choose it, because you think that way can please the jury, but at the end maybe not.
I think the reason why we hear very similar performances today is kind of the general consensus, like community agreement on something. For example, like, metronome use or tempi in general, or what I mean. And it's actually trap. It's trap for musicians, because you supposed to perform on Chopin competition. You're supposed to prove that you are able to play like everybody else, but slightly better. That's exactly what I heard, like listening through the rounds, that we hear exact tempi, we hear exact articulation, but someone has more stamina, more energy, but it's about the same interpretation delivered by different people. I'm not judging, and thanks God I'm not solo pianist, so I can speak about these things more like music lover,
Yeah.
so I'm in a good position for that. But you said that pianists are playing pretty similarly. You think, I personally think that there is a little issue. Many teachers believe that they are following exact way how Beethoven wrote or Chopin wrote. You and I, we understand that we of course play in a different technique, completely different mindset, and but many teachers they really believe that they are following traditions. That's why I asked you this question. You see, what I seeing at Chopin competition, a little slightly disappointed me, because when you see so many talented, indeed fantastic, gifted pianistically and musically people, and they have so narrow musical ideas, which almost match like 90%. It's something wrong. To my to my personal taste.
Yeah, absolutely.
You actually touched two interesting topics which I wanted to discuss with you. The first is, how do you think the modern the recent Chopin competition committee judge board, do they choose someone who is best interpreter of Chopin music, or someone who is more skilled, better prepared? Do they pick the best Chopinist, if you let me say this?
Yeah,
or they are trying to select the best overall player? What do you think?
From the recent editions, if I'm not wrong, I think they choose more a complete pianist rather than a really Chopinist. From my understanding, from the play style of, I mean, in my mind, as Juliana or Sonjin, they're all very complete pianists and not necessarily Chopinist, I think. Chopinist is really hard to describe. It's like a very it's like a very subtle kind of style. I wouldn't say that Chopinist is not complete musician, but I have a feeling that if you're a true Chopinist, you will have definitely some limitations, that there's a lot of things I think that you won't be able to play like that good as complete pianist. That's normal. There's always sacrifice in life. You cannot be good at everything.
About the previous competition winners, I hear them playing Rachmaninoff, them playing Mussorgsky beautifully. They really accomplished in other genres and other music as well. The same as you. I mean, I don't know if people realize that actually you're one of the most impressive contemporary music performer that I have met. And you know that always when I have a question about contemporary music with my students, I always call you and we chat about something, because it's really impressive. Why you think Chopin competition don't let competitors add a little section in their program that would really highlight their tastes and music preferences, real music preferences? Because we all understand, we all realize that there are not so many guys who dedicated completely to Chopin music only. I think what they've done recently was great about the historical instruments. The Chopin played on historical instruments. I think that's a great idea. That's a great idea to select a real player of Chopin music there. And why don't they? How do you think will they allow people to play something else during the Chopin competition rounds? that would be great.
It will be great, but you know, if they do that, I think there's no point of Chopin. You know, it's like no different as Tchaikovsky or Clyburn or anything else. Yeah, it's a factor, because in any other competition, if I think now, I think I have never played any Chopin piece in other competitions. I mean, except like etudes, you know, that we play and everything. But I think I never played any Chopin in any other competitions.
Yeah,
because Chopin is very controversial.
yeah, yeah. But this is exactly the trap I'm talking about. You see, because to my personal opinion of just a music lover, I think that we are a little bit going further from the original intentions by Chopin. What do you think? Are we keeping the same traditions from 19th century, or we are the music is developing and as time changes? What do you think?
Yeah, this is I think there could be two topics on this. One is that if classical music should be kept as the initial form, or second, if it should be recreated. So it's very interesting, because if we talk about recreation, I think it's something natural, because the way we live, the way the society is, everything is changed from 200 years ago. And I think even though we try to keep the music in the same way as Chopin did, I think the food we eat, the house we live, and I have a pool, in my house, and and there's snow in Canada, and there's people wear pajama outside, and they just, I mean, there's no point. Even though we play the same music, it's not going to be the same taste anyway. So
you have pool at your place, but Chopin was complaining about spending all his money on renting a cabrio. He was traveling
yeah,
to
exactly.
teach, and white gloves. So you see. Yeah, I see. So you think that the matter of fact that we have a music text is enough for us to create something new on top of what we see?
I think something about magical about classical music is that we have a minimum regulation. There's always already so many regulation. This is so different from painting. It's if I ask you 10 kids to paint an apple, definitely the 10 will be completely different. Unlike that, what we're talking about, 10 Asian kids playing Chopin Etude number 4 is going to be very similar. So why? You see? So I think there's, so I think that classical art should be recreated. Otherwise, it's gonna die, which is a bit like what is happening now. I mean, creating in the in I think as Debussy did with from at that time, nobody liked him because what he did was people think it was no deep meaning. Everything was entertaining, which is like what people think nowadays is similar. But of course, there's a certain way. It doesn't recreation doesn't mean it's random. That there's always I think there should be always a direction and a taste that is involved. And even though if we go back to the recreation is a very big word, but there's a huge balance in it. If we go back, we say we want to keep as closely as Chopin, or at that time was, which is something that I put in my interpretation. That's a game that I play. I recently, not recently, but since the pandemic, actually, I was at home and I appreciate more and more the old golden age generation pianists, like Cortot, Michelangelo, Samson Francois, which I used to not know how to really appreciate. I was only focused on more, as we today, the pianistic or the perfection recording side, of the recent pianists. But from that time, I really appreciate more and more the way their phrase, their bel canto and their improvisation side. And I said, it's not that they didn't have good technique, it's because they didn't care. No, it was not important for them. So it's not they didn't care about technique, but it's it's because they didn't care about technique, basically. If you hear the Michelangelo, the fourth movement of the second sonata, I think nobody can exceed that speed and that pianissimo. It's
No, he was marvelous, fantastic pianist. By the way, I wanted to ask you about. I know that you're doing a cart, right? Is it influenced by Michelangelo because he was also
No, actually, after I had this hobby, and then I started to to know him better, listening him in recent years, and I discovered that we share the same.
That's
passion.
fantastic. Yeah, it's cool. Well,
and that just makes me like him better.
Even yeah. Can you remember the most funny, ridiculous, or embarrassing moment related to your sudden popularity?
Yeah, I think it was one day I woke up in the hotel. I didn't know where I was.
Really?
But it's not so embarrassing. It's just me in a room, so it's okay. But it took me like a few minutes to actually know which city I was in. So
but it's just tiredness. I mean, like
that's maybe more from embarrassing moments. I don't think so. That means I was handling pretty well. I didn't make any huge mistake. That really points my head out. So yeah, no, I'm glad I don't have.
But people still treat you differently now, don't you think so? Like they offer you better service at hotel, for example, or so. I mean, this side of your popularity, how do you experience this and how do you handle this?
Yeah, of course I enjoy it, but I try to not tell me that too much, because I still want to keep my inside down, because from their honesty, I didn't change, I'm still myself. It's just this title that makes people actually think suddenly you have the value. But from the people who knows me, like you, or from my teacher or my parents, that didn't change at all. They know my value since 10 years ago, and it's not like suddenly I became God. It's so I try to, of course, I like all these compliments, and suddenly all the fans, and I'm glad I can bring happiness to more people. I try to stay very positive. I like to be with them, to enjoy the moments, and also give them inspiration, which is what we need today. People come to concerts, and why they don't simply buy a CD. They want to come here and to feel there's an atmosphere, and try to feel there's a human contact that could inspire them, for example, at school or at work, or their personal problems, even, anything is possible. So, but inside, in my own peace of mind, I know that this is a tsunami, but I know that I still have to be consistent in my thing, which is the most important. That's how to keep the path very long.
Just to close this topic, sorry for putting you in very deep reflections. Just to close this, as this is not your first big competition which you're taking part in, and I remember that you were finalist in Montreal competition, the Rubinstein competition, Tchaikovsky competition. We will not even mention, didn't go well. I would like to ask you, what did you change in your approach, in your philosophy, in your routine, which led you to finally get what you really deserve and to win one of the biggest competition in the world?
I think after every main event, I there's always something that that usually which is very often for young people, they try to throw frustration, that think this is not fair, this is not shouldn't be like that. There's mafioso, and of course, I also have this emotion, for a few days, which is very normal, but at the end, I think the most important is how to improve on yourself, because when you think about all these frustration, but at the end, it doesn't bring anything to you, it's just like finding a reasons to make people happy, other people happy, but nothing related with yourself. So at the end, I even before the Chopin, I was totally like a Buddha, I was very peaceful mind, that I think I didn't think about any results anymore. Even after, I think after round 2 and round 1, actually after every round, I was preparing my luggage, I was ready to leave if I was eliminated, I was in this peace of mind, I was no matter what happens, it's okay for me. So I think this takes a few competitions and few years to actually attain this this kind of mindset. Yeah, and I think what I have learned is, of course, that's one of them, to have no expectation, to focus on the detail that you're doing, and because when we enter such huge event like this, it's so easy to get influenced by other competitors, to other media, sometimes I don't know how the hell they choose people, but some people looks more like stars, I guess. So they all, concentrated on some of them. And I think it's very dangerous, because it brings you suddenly a kind of, you think, I'm so good, right? And you feel like you should be probably top 3 or in the competition. And at the end, it's not at all the true story. So I think what I have learned is to just concentrate on yourself, not hearing any rumors and any story, made of nowhere, outside, and one thing, from the pandemic, I started to listen in my own recordings, and this is something that I hated to do, because I think probably most of people hates that, because when you hear your own playing, it's just so bad that you don't want to hear it anymore. When you're playing, you really enjoy what you're doing, but when you're listening, as a third person's perspective, it's just it could be totally not what you were expecting, so that really helped me, to actually to fix my directions. Otherwise, I think I will be in a very total different approach, probably. I don't know if I will win or not, but it's not important, but not to the perfection point I was imagining in my head, I think.
Yeah. So you generally speaking, you were rehearsing how to listen your own recordings released by Deutsche Grammophon. So you were kind of imagining this in your mind, which is actually very good practice. It's kind of advice I gave to one of my advanced students recently. I said, you know what, you should practice and then listen to your playing, and aiming that this recording going to be released and people will be able to to enjoy your playing. So thanks a lot for sharing your competition experience. A few questions I will ask about your teachers. Maybe briefly describe what you've learned from each of your mentors.
Yeah, I think, mainly I can say, is Richard and then Dang.
Yeah.
I think Richard, it's better than me. I think it's the one word I can remember from him, is shape. Is always shape.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you can remember from from a teacher, I think for your lifetime, I think this is very valuable. I think who was it? I have a friend who said, I wouldn't mention his teacher's name, but that the only thing that he remembered, for after a few years of study is that take off your glasses when you perform. Don't wear glasses when you perform a concert. That was the only thing. And you know, if that was something I remember, I would feel that very disappointing, obviously.
Yeah.
But Richard, you know, I think I got all the solid technique, you know, not technique, but the formation, like the basic formation, very solid formation, how to phrase, you know, pay attention to dynamic and the way to use body to make very not harsh sound, you know, all these things. You know, and I think it was very long. How long? 7 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about
quite 7, 8 years. Yeah, it just flies. He's so fast. I still can't believe.
Yeah, no, I mean Richard, because we also studied with him. It's, I mean, this is kind of professor which changes your life basically, and his approach. If you're able to take even some, it's gonna help you. But if you, I know that, you know, because I was watching you, like how you would play your recitals, and I think that you kind of student who observed quite a lot from a teacher, like in real time. Because some students like myself, for example, after I graduated from my master's from the conservatoire, I would say it took me about additional 2 years to realize many things that Richard was demanding from me and what he was pointing out. You know, I have sense that you were maybe due to age, and you know, and you were grown in Montreal in this society. You had different mindset. I think you probably were able to take up to 95% of what he was saying right away. Is that correct?
Yeah, because we have a difference, because you know, you had your basic formation, you know, as in Moscow, right? Or
yeah.
That's a totally different type of education, you know, and different approach and conception as well. As my time, I was totally like a blank sheet, you know, we call it like a blank sheet. So anything that comes with me at that time, I would absorb very fast and in a certain complexion. So you know, that is normal. For example, if it's now for me, if I go to Russia and study with you know, a Russian teacher, probably it will be not as easy as I did, you know, when I was 14, because I already have so many ideas and have my own personality, and so it's normal. And with Dong, you know, after it's very funny, because with Dong is that we didn't thought about Chopin at all at the start, which is very strange for most of the people, because I think everyone comes to study Chopin and to prepare the competition with him. But when I started with him, was everything but Chopin, you know. And I think it was just 2 years ago that, you know, I said, you know, why I should not go try Chopin. And then said, oh, I mean, because I think nobody saw me as Chopin, you know, really performer, you know. With Richard or with Dong, you know, we always studied, you know, I mean, anything. So, and the good thing with him is that he was very flexible, you know. He was it was the moment that I started to grow, you know, also have my own personality. So he was, you know, he never forced me. He was really trying to find the best of my directions. It's never convincing enough, because, you know, what he tried is to push my ideas to the perfection side, to make it very convincing, and but never really changed my mind. I think this is not easy, because from what he says, is the nature of every student is different. There's no point to teach, you know, the same piece or the same way, you know. So which is not that something that easy to do, obviously.
Unfortunately, I never met him, you know, in person. Of course, I know many of his performances, but who's more funny guy comparing Richard or Dan Tyson?
It's hard to say, you know, their sense of humor is different, but I would say that they have one common thing, is that they sometimes you don't feel you're talking to an adult. You just suddenly feel you're talking to a child. They have a very naive.
That's great.
Of course, they are. They know the. I'm not saying that, but they know. I think this is what artists needs a lot. It's important to keep the simplicity sometimes, just to forget about everything. Come back to your nature side. It's really amazing.
Well, that's fantastic feedback. I'm pretty sure that they both will be very happy to hearing you saying that. The last topic which I want to discuss is your. Actually, I have so many things to ask about your hammer clavier and other pieces, but I discovered that you will be playing soon Tchaikovsky Concerto No. 2.
Yeah.
Which made me feel so happy. I love this piece, and it's really underestimated.
Rated.
Let's say it's one of the Tchaikovsky best work, and that cadenza. Which edition do you play?
The complete one. Because I want to, because I want to have this trio. I don't want to skip this trio in the second movement.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. But do you play the first concerto as well?
No.
Yeah, I was wondering whether you play all of his 5 concertos.
I only know he had 3.
You know what? It's a very funny topic, because all the educated musicians know that he has 3.
Yeah.
But in fact, he has 5 works written for piano and orchestra. The first one was Allegro, which he wrote when he was a student of. The last his third concerto was originally his Symphony No. 6, which he did not approve. He didn't like to see. It was in E flat major, the same with the Emperor Concerto by Beethoven, and he was unhappy about music, so he rearranged this for piano concerto. But
it's a short one.
But the most interesting moment about his work, which one lady, her last name was a Mentor. She was very rich, very wealthy family, and she liked music a lot. She decided to write a concerto for piano and orchestra, and she called Liszt and asked, Monsieur Liszt, could you please help me with my work? So Liszt joined her. He was living with her. Like, she paid him lots of money. He started, then he got sick. He went back. He died. She calls Tchaikovsky. Mr. Tchaikovsky, I almost finished my concerto. Please help me. So Tchaikovsky goes there. He completes the concerto, and basically all the orchestration and parts. So we basically have a mix today. A Mentor Tchaikovsky Liszt. It's very fun piece. Yeah, it's very fun piece. Yeah, I'm gonna send. Well, as I said, Bruce, I really thank you for your time and for answering our questions today. We can't wait to see you here, and would like to wish you all the best luck for your career and for your future steps and projects. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.